In his State of the Union address, the president switched between partisan positions and his hardline immigration stance and calls for unity.
But despite his push for bipartisanship, he also warned Democrats they will hurt the country if they continue to investigate his administration. Take a listen.
We must reject the politics of revenge, resistance, and retribution, and embrace the boundless potential of cooperation, compromise, and the common good. If there is going to be peace and legislation, there cannot be war and investigation.
All right, White House Principal Deputy Press Secretary Hogan Gidley is joining us right now from the White House. Good to see you, Hogan.
Great to see you, Vlad. Thanks so much for having me on today.
All right, so let's talk about this. President Trump said partisan investigations are getting in the way of his legislative agenda. Is he calling for an end to the constitutional responsibility that Congress has to investigate his administration?
Now, what he's calling for is cooperation with the House Democrats, who have said multiple times that they want things like infrastructure to be fixed. They want things like lower prescription drug prices, a better health care system, the national security, an immigration fix to the broader system itself with visas and things that are loopholes in the law that keep people into this country and allow people who come into this country to stay past their legal time to do so. They've all expressed interest in actually getting something done. And I'll tell you, one of the reasons we actually opened the government in the first place was because so many Democrats came to the White House and called us and contacted us various ways and said, listen, we're not like the leadership. We ran on security measures. We ran on working with you. We didn't run as Nancy Pelosi's puppet like Chuck Schumer. We want to work with this White House. How can we do that? So the president said, fine, we'll open up the government and work with you. So there are plenty of Democrats out there who ran and won in districts that Trump won back in the election, and now they are hearing their constituents say, work with a man, get something accomplished. So that's what he was pointing to. There are so many things here that this president and the Democrats agree on. Let's come together. Let's get it done for the benefit of the American people. That's what he was saying last night.
So the vice president spoke to our Jeff Glor last night. They talked about the government shutdown. The vice president said it was not a mistake, but we know a lot of people suffered during that time, a month without getting paid. And, in some of our recent CBS News polling, we asked people whether or not they thought the president should declare a national emergency in order to get funding for the wall. 66% of people said absolutely not. Is the president willing to shut down the government again over this wall in just a couple of weeks?
Well, I'm not going to get ahead of anything he will or won't do, but he's made very clear all options are on the table for him. Look, the constitutional duty of this president, and quite frankly, members of Congress, is first and foremost to protect the American people. He's going to do that however he can, use all legal authority to accomplish that, because the American people also, those polled, said they want safety and security. They believe in border security, and that's what he's trying to accomplish here. Listen, we put forth many plans during this administration to try and bring Democrats to the table. In fact, we actually incorporated so many of the things Democrats wanted in our proposal as it relates to technology, ICE beds, more health care for people who come here illegally up through the border and claim asylum, for example, even the ability for refugees to claim that status in their home country. So we worked with Democrats on this, and they didn't come to the table at all. No negotiation whatsoever, no counteroffer, and no doesn't get the ball moving forward at all. No doesn't protect the American people. So the president has been clear. He's looking at all options, but right now he has no announcement. He wants this to be a congressional fix. He thinks that's the way to come to a lasting solution that actually protects the American people, gives Democrats some of what they want, gives Republicans some of what they want, and quite frankly, what the American people need and deserve in safety and security.
Hogan, that $5.7 billion, is that still a hard number, or is the ultimate deal maker willing to compromise on that?
Yeah, look, I'm not going to negotiate here with you guys from this dais, but I will say the president wants to come to a conclusion on this matter. He wants a deal to be made. We've got to have something to come back from the Democrats. The president's been clear about what he wants. He's also been clear about Customs Border Protection. ICE and DHS say they need to protect the American people. That's what these numbers are based off of. We're waiting for Democrats to counteroffer. And as I said before, no is not a counteroffer. It's just it's a position that it's untenable because the American people deserve safety and security. And also, the federal workers you just mentioned deserve to be paid. There are 800,000 of them who struggled through that shutdown, and we had no end in sight because Democrats just would not give us anything to negotiate with. Remember, Democrats, it was very telling what they were doing during that shutdown. Nancy Pelosi hauled off and went to Hawaii. Democrats partied in Puerto Rico, and then they tried to go on a 6-day excursion overseas, refusing to come to the table, refusing to negotiate. The president was here before Christmas, during New Year's, after New Year's to try and get something done. The American people saw that. You saw his polls really didn't change much during the shutdown because they know where he stands. They want safety and security. It's time for both sides to come together. That's what the speech predominantly was about last night. Come together and let's get something done because the American people, for whatever reason, put Donald Trump in the White House and put Democrats in control of the House. They expect them to work together and get something done.
So, Hogan, I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about the crisis in Venezuela. The administration has pledged its support for Juan Guaido. We have millions and millions of dollars in humanitarian aid that has been sent down there but is not getting into the country. And the president says all options are on the table. Is he talking about troops? Is he talking about putting Americans in harm's way in Venezuela?
Look, he said it. All options are on the table, and you just said that. We want a peaceful transition of power. Obviously, we stand with Guaido as the recognized president down there, and we reject the actions of Maduro. Any threats against the Venezuelan people, we reject that. And you're starting to see some cracks there. Some of the generals in the army and Maduro's army are actually coming to the other side and trying to protect the recognized President Guaido, and other countries stand with us as well. I mean, we're upward around 25 or so now who've come out and agree with us, even some from the EU at this point. So listen, we want the safety and security of the Venezuelan people. We want a transition of power that's peaceful, and we'll help do that however we need to.
Hogan, before I let you go, I just got to ask you this one last question about something that President Trump said yesterday. After the first Trump-Kim summit, the president said inspectors would be allowed inside North Korea to work on denuclearization within weeks. That has not happened. So why meet for a second time? And what city in Vietnam is the president planning to meet him in?
Obviously, I can't get ahead of the city. There are safety and security concerns with that. But listen, the president's been clear what he wants. He wants the complete, total, and verifiable denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. And while they have...
Hogan, what will change this time around if what he wanted the first time around did not transpire?
Well, look, that's one of the things the president wants to talk about. He wants to figure out exactly how far we can go here because they've made some promises, and some of those they've kept. Some of those haven't been quite as clear and haven't been done decisively. And that's one of the things we want to talk about. But listen, the even chance that we're talking about denuclearization of North Korea, which would be safer not just for this country, not just for our partners and allies, but for the globe itself, is a very important thing. And if we can do anything to denuclearize and help them denuclearize and put their feet to the fire and make sure that happens, that's a good thing. They've already done so many things. We've given up nothing at this point, but the president thinks they have a good relationship. He thinks they can work together to get that denuclearization, and we're going into this eyes wide open. No one's, thinking about unicorns and gumdrops and how this is actually going to be. We want and need denuclearization for this relationship to continue, and that's what we're going to press on. We want to make sure that happens.
All right. Hogan Gidley, thank you so much.
Thanks so much for the time.